I've been thinking about the latest twists on The Bold and the Beautiful, and Wednesday, February 18th, is shaping up to be a must-watch day. One of the biggest surprises is Bill and Katie finally telling Ridge&Brooke that Eric is the designer at Logan. Meanwhile, Liam decides it's time to come clean to Hope about Eric too, which feels like the calm before a storm. Looking back, Ridge made a huge call just before Christmas when he decided Eric should retire from fashion. To me, that was a bold move, but Eric didn't take it quietly. He insisted he still had plenty of creativity left and wasn't going anywhere. Ridge went ahead anyway, throwing a retirement celebration that honestly made Eric feel like he'd been pushed aside at Forrester Creations. I didn't realize how much that would weigh on him over the holidays, but it really seemed to take the joy out of the season for him. Then there's Katie. After her remarriage to Bill, she suddenly found herself with this incredible opportunity. Bill gifted her a fashion house. She needed someone seasoned to lead it, and to me, it made perfect sense that she turned to Eric. He fit the role like a glove. But because of the possible backlash, they kept his involvement quiet. While Katie and Brooke debated branding and the direction for Logan, Eric quietly poured himself into creating new designs. It felt like a classic behind-the-scenes genius moment, and I think it showed how much he still has to give. Ultimately, Katie decided to officially move forward with Logan as the fashion house name, raising the stakes even more. As the launch date approached, Bill pushed Eric to complete the designs fast, and Katie's team had to translate Eric's vision into reality under a tight timeline. Watching Eric get so consumed by work, I couldn't help but worry when he experienced a breathing episode, and then Donna stepped in, insisting he go to the hospital. What I find fascinating is that neither Brooke nor Ridge knows that Eric is working for Katie, and Liam, who has discovered the truth, still hasn't told Hope. I can't help but wonder how long this secret can stay under wraps and what will happen when everyone finally finds out. To me, it feels like the perfect setup for a drama-filled showdown. Monday, February 16th, 2026. Bold and the Beautiful recap. Today on Bold and the Beautiful, Bill is on a mission. Get Eric to finish his collection designs. No excuses, no delays. And honestly, watching Eric try to juggle perfectionism with everyone else's impatience, it's like watching a high-stakes game of Jenga where the blocks are made of silk and pride. Meanwhile, last episode's drama lingers. Electra totally bugged out and dumped Will because he refused to send Dylan back to vehicular homelessness. Classic B&B logic. Your love life hinges on your loyalty to someone else's questionable housing situation. At Forrester, Ridge is in deep reflection mode, giving Brooke full credit for keeping him young while secretly worrying about his dad. Eric's doctor has flagged stress levels, and Ridge can't wrap his head around what could be causing it. Enter Donna, nervously laughing her way through the explanation. Eric just misses being at work. Apparently, starting a different future is more stressful than a runaway freight train. Ridge can't help but speculate. Something feels off, and he wonders if Eric is hiding bad news. He misses having his father around every day, and Brooke is the eternal optimist. They'll find time together, she insists. But Ridge still doesn't get it. Honestly, can anyone blame him? Across town at Logan, the tension is a whole different level. Bill and Katie are pressing Eric for a launch timeline, but Eric is living in a world where you can't rush perfection. Q models strutting in with designs, which Eric promptly demolishes. According to him, the elegance is in the details, and this is, well, shoddy. Logan can't just match Forrester. They need better silk, better design, better everything. Bill's frustration is palpable. They can't use Forrester vendors without exposing secrets. Eric doubles down, quality over deadlines. That's not happening, Bill fires back, and the classic B&B standoff begins. Eric won't compromise. He insists the collection will shine if they just trust him and wait. After the chaos of models and critique, Donna arrives to witness Eric's stress firsthand. She sees the toll, worries about the pressure from Katie and Bill, and gently confronts him at home. Eric bristles at the mention of his doctor's concerns. HIPAA violation, he protests. But Donna isn't having it. She sees the truth. Eric is overwhelmed, overextended, and underappreciated. He admits it. He hates working with Bill, misses the Forrester office, the grandkids, Ridge. But pride and loyalty keep him pushing forward. Donna, as always, is the voice of reason. She loves that he's doing this for Katie, but his health has to come first. She tells him bluntly, "It's time to back out." To me, this is classic B&B gold. Interpersonal drama, professional pride, family tension, and the subtle reminder that even legends like Eric can feel the weight of it all. Watching him struggle between doing what's right for others and doing what's right for himself, it's heartbreaking, relatable, and perfectly over-the-top soap opera storytelling. The latest, The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers hint that Steffi Forrester Finnegan might just catch Taylor Hayes and Deacon Sharp in a dangerously weak moment. I was wondering, will Steffi actually enforce her strict Hayes-Finnegan and Kelly Spencer ban if Taylor gives in to temptation? Earlier, Steffi had updated Ridge Forrester on Taylor's feelings for Deacon. Ridge didn't waste a second. He stormed in on them and tried to shut down their budding romance. Taylor, although tempted by this second chance at love, ultimately agreed with Ridge, at least for now. She assured Steffi that things were over with Deacon, leaving Steffi feeling a sense of relief. But here's the thing, I can't help but think Taylor might get swept up in a moment with Deacon sooner rather than later. And when that happens, disaster could be just around the corner. I mean, could Steffi actually catch Taylor making out with Deacon? Or worse, stripping down for some passionate rendezvous? Time apart tends to make the heart, or maybe the hormones, grow fonder. Deacon and Taylor have a fiery connection, and separating them might only intensify it. It feels inevitable that their mutual attraction will erupt sooner or later. So what happens if Steffi walks in and finds Taylor back in Deacon's arms? That's when things could get serious. Steffi has already laid down the law before. If Taylor pursued anything with Deacon, she'd be out of the family's inner circle. That means Taylor could risk losing Steffi, Kelly, and Hayes if she lets her desires override her judgment. And Steffi can't risk Sheila Sharp's wrath spilling over onto the kids. If Taylor can't follow the rules, I think Steffi might have no choice but to enforce the family ban. Will Taylor be able to resist Deacon's undeniable pull in the coming episodes? Or will she surrender to temptation and regret it later? All signs point to some very turbulent times ahead for Taylor, and the drama is only just getting started. On The Bold and the Beautiful, ultimatums fly faster than designers sip their morning coffee. But this latest one might take the cake for sheer absurdity. I have to say, I was watching this and thinking, did she really just do that? Electra just laid it all out for Will after Aunt Ivy dropped a twisted version of the Dylan saga. You'd think she expects him to cave instantly, choose her, and life goes back to normal. But I get the sense Electra might have actually played her final card and lost everything in the process. The tension at the beach house hit a boiling point when Ivy arrived, supposedly to protect her niece. Instead of owning up to the fact that she bullied Dylan into leaving town, Ivy flipped the story and claimed she saw Will and Dylan in a compromising embrace through the window. Electra, still raw from the Luna drama, bought the half-truth hook, line, and sinker and demanded that Will toss Dylan out or their relationship is over. But Will, he's not budging. He knows Dylan was living in her car, and he isn't about to make her suffer just to soothe Electra's insecurities. By standing his ground, Will basically chose Dylan's safety over Electra's ultimatums, and social media is buzzing about it. One ex-user said Electra is becoming her own worst enemy with her controlling behavior, and a Facebook commenter pointed out that Dylan and Will have a natural chemistry that just doesn't exist with Electra. Honestly, I have to agree. This is the most chemistry Will's had with anyone in a long time. Dylan's now comfortably back at Will's place, even calling him her prince. And to me, that's more than just gratitude. It's a sign she sees a real future with him. Meanwhile, Electra walks away, probably realizing too late that her dramatic ultimatum didn't save anything. It just opened the door for Dylan to stay, and maybe for good. On a lighter note, Forrester Creations had some romance to celebrate. Carter and Daphne finally tied the knot in a surprise ceremony, and the newlyweds didn't waste a moment of their first night as husband and wife. While one couple is in turmoil, another is enjoying their happily ever after, at least for now. So here's my take. Elektra may have seriously overplayed her hand, and Will? I think he made the right call sticking by Dylan. The chemistry there is undeniable, and I can't help but root for them, the bold and the beautiful. Monday, February 16th. Recap. I think Monday's episode really highlighted just how tangled the worlds of the Forresters and Logans have become. Bill Spencer was absolutely furious over the Logan fashion launch, demanding updates, while Eric Forrester was quietly dealing with stress that he hadn't fully acknowledged, even to himself. At Forrester Creations, Ridge had just wrapped up his annual physical and caught up with Brooke Logan Forrester. The doctor, who also treats Eric, hinted to Ridge that his dad might be carrying more stress than he should. Ridge seemed genuinely confused. Eric was supposed to be retired, enjoying life, and yet here he was, looking like he'd been running a marathon in a boardroom. Donna Logan Forrester stopped by, dropping hints about Eric considering a different future. Ridge didn't know what to make of it, and honestly, I didn't either. Meanwhile, over at Bill's office, things were heating up. Bill was pressuring Eric for a timeline on the first Logan collection, but Eric wasn't willing to compromise on quality. When models paraded Eric's latest designs, he immediately shot them down. The clasp was wrong. The silk wasn't the exact one he requested. Bill tried to reason with him, pointing out that they couldn't access all the same vendors Eric used at Forrester without risking leaks about his Logan involvement. Katie Logan Spencer weighed in, noting that while employees had signed NDAs, vendors hadn't, which only added to the tension. Eric dug in, insisting that the launch would have to be delayed if the designs weren't perfect. Bill, predictably, was not having it. He was focused on speed, profits, and getting this fashion line off the ground, no matter the cost. When Donna arrived, she quickly realized just how much pressure Eric was under and grew worried. In a quieter moment, Bill even warned Katie about how long it would take to break even, making it clear that if Eric walked away, it could spell disaster for the Logan brand. Katie wanted to protect Eric from that kind of pressure, but she was also torn. She still wanted to support Logan while keeping an eye on her dad. Later, at the Forrester mansion, Donna reminded Eric that his doctor had flagged his stress levels. Eric, true to form, wanted to prove he still had what it takes, not just for himself, but to show Ridge he hadn't been wronged at Forrester. He enjoyed getting back to designing, yet he hated dealing with Bill, knowing his heart really belonged at home, with Forrester Creations, Ridge, and his grandkids. By the end of the episode, Donna was firm. Eric needed to tell Bill and Katie the truth. He couldn't continue designing for Logan. And if Monday was any indication, this secret and the pressure surrounding it are only going to get worse as the week progresses. I think Ivy's transformation in the bold and the beautiful is one of the juiciest character shifts we've seen lately. She traded in her girl-next-door image for full-blown bad girl energy, and Dylan is already feeling the tremors. To me, it's wild to see the same Ivy who once had a complicated history with Liam now stepping fully into her villain era. And as she picks her first target, Dylan is about to discover just what it means to cross a Forrester. Ivy's move isn't just about drama, it's a calculated power play. By zeroing in on Dylan's crush on Will, she's basically gatekeeping her niece Elektra's love life, reasserting dominance in ways that feel equal parts strategic and delightfully sinister. And those words, inappropriate, not proper, aren't casual remarks. Ivy wields them like weapons. She knows that a whisper of scandal often hurts more than the truth itself. Dylan, meanwhile, is trapped in a game Ivy wrote according to her own rigid values and lingering resentment toward the Spencer men. If Dylan tries to defend her night with Will, she only feeds Ivy's narrative that boundaries have been crossed. It's almost Shakespearean, except replace poison with passive-aggressive Forrester subtlety. But Ivy isn't just aiming to break up a friendship. She's orchestrating a full social exile for Dylan. It's a move designed to make sure Elektra's world remains perfectly insulated from anyone she deems a threat. The irony? Ivy claims she's saving Will and Elektra's relationship, yet she's never really liked Will. She's never bought into the idea of his innocence, even back when he was tangled up in Luna's dark web. For Ivy, This has always been about control, not protection. Her paranoia and manipulations have seeped into every corner of their lives. Electra, Dylan, even Will. They're all caught in a web of suspicion, distrust, and subtle emotional sabotage. It's a toxic triangle Ivy designed herself, and it's working beautifully from her perspective. At the end of the day, Dylan is the one paying the price. She's out on the streets, feeling like she's done something wrong, while Ivy sits back as the hero in her niece's eyes. This is a masterclass in manipulation, classic Forrester tactics repurposed and perfected. Ivy took advantage of Electra's lack of parental guidance, stepped into the role of protector, and ensured her voice is the only one shaping her niece's view of Dylan. It's not about care, it's about control. And in this soap opera chess game, Ivy is already 3 moves ahead. Another couple bites the dust on The Bold and the Beautiful, as Electra and Will officially call it quits. Electra gave Will an ultimatum over Dylan, and when he didn't choose his girlfriend, fans were quick to weigh in. Honestly, I didn't realize just how much Ivy was stirring the pot here. Jumping into her niece's personal life and sending Dylan back out into the world without even a heads up? That was a little over the top. No wonder tensions flared. Will eventually found out what Ivy had done, and Electra discovered the whole Dylan and Will situation while in San Francisco with Steffi. She put her foot down. It was Dylan or her. And true to form, Will proved he's every bit his mom's son by refusing to put Dylan back on the streets. Some fans are totally Team Will on this one. One ex-user even brought up Katie in his defense. Electra is a spoiled, entitled little brat. Will wouldn't be Will if he put this girl back out on the streets. His mama raised a good man. I hope ultimately he ends up with Dylan. Electra doesn't deserve him. She can be with her relative RJ LMAU. Of course, not everyone agrees. Plenty think Will should have sided with Electra and left Dylan to fend for herself. I'm disappointed in Will then. Sick he won't even kick Dylan out because he thinks she's innocent. That's costing his relationship with Electra and blames Ivy for it, wrote another fan. Whatever side you're on, the split is official. I think this isn't the end for Will and Electra, but it's definitely the start of some juicy soap opera drama. With RJ entering the young B&B scene, things are about to get even messier. Sparks have already flown between Dylan and RJ, and it looks like RJ might have his eyes on Electra while Dylan chases after Will. So, a reconciliation between Electra and Will? Probably not anytime soon. Honestly, I think that's fine. Let's be real. They were starting to feel a little predictable. A little chaos with Dylan and RJ might just be the shakeup this storyline needed. Carter Walton is finally a married man on The Bold and the Beautiful, thanks to his stunning bride, Daphne Rose. And now that he's conquered the impossible, tying the knot, Carter isn't stopping there. He's got his sights set on the next big milestone, becoming a dad. First comes love, then comes marriage, and then comes the baby carriage? That's the big question for Carter and Daphne. Barely had Daphne stepped out of her couture wedding gown when Carter was already hinting it was time to start trying for a baby. According to B&B spoilers, much of this week will see the couple focusing on getting pregnant. Yes, viewers can expect plenty of quality time as Mr. and Mrs. Walton in the bedroom. Daphne even confidently told Steffi Forrester that there would be a baby in 9 months. But as we know in Soapland, even the best-laid plans can go awry. We don't know Daphne's full medical history or if she's had children before, and rumors suggest that the road to parenthood might not be smooth sailing. Carter, after all, has spent over a decade on The Bold and the Beautiful without ever leaving a pregnancy in his wake. From the countless women he's been involved with, not a single one has even ended up with a pregnancy scare. So, if Daphne struggles, could Carter be the issue? A simple test could give the answer, but until then, anything is possible. If it turns out Carter is in top form, but Daphne still can't conceive, this could put a serious strain on their happily ever after. Carter definitely wants children, but would he change his feelings about Daphne if there are obstacles? And would the couple consider surrogacy or adoption if nature doesn't cooperate? Whatever happens, the journey from bride and groom to mom and dad promises to be full of drama, heart, and maybe even a few unexpected twists. Next week on Bold and Beautiful, Deacon Sharp is in for a heartbreaking blow when the love of his life decides to walk away. I was wondering if Deacon even remembers how to handle rejection, because, knowing him, he's not going to take no for an answer. Over the next couple of weeks, we can expect him pleading with Dr. Taylor Hayes, desperate for another chance to make things right. But Taylor isn't budging. She'll remind Deacon of the fears of her ex-husband and their daughter, and of course, Sheila Carter, the one name that can stop him cold. To me, this might be the wake-up call Deacon desperately needs. Could losing Taylor finally push him to consider divorcing Sheila? Being married to Sheila has clearly been weighing on him, and now that he's lost his true love, maybe he'll find the courage to end the nightmare. Right now, he's trapped in a loveless marriage, paralyzed by fear of Sheila's unpredictable, unhinged side. And yes, I get it. After everything he's seen Sheila do over the years, fear is reasonable. But Deacon is a grown man, and sometimes you just have to take the leap. This actually feels like the perfect moment for him to make a move. With Taylor out of the picture, he doesn't have to worry about Sheila targeting her once divorce papers are served. And let's be real, Deke Harrison and Hope Logan are probably over the moon at the idea of losing their evil stepmom. They'll likely support their dad every step of the way. Now the big question, how will Sheila react when Deacon finally serves those papers? Should the kids hire a security guard? Personally, I wouldn't put it past her to go full Sheila. But maybe, just maybe, this could finally be the beginning of Deacon reclaiming his life. The latest Bold and the Beautiful spoilers reveal that Electra Forrester is single again, just in time for Valentine's Day. Last week, Will Spencer Jr. called her bluff and refused to kick Miss Dillon out. But I can't help wondering, how long before R.J. Forrester sees an opening? Since Bridges' prodigal son returned to the show, Brooke Logan has been on a mission to get him dating. To me, her obsession with matchmaking might finally pay off, especially now that R.J. has confessed he's got his eye on Electra. Will Brooke nudge him to make his move, or will he need a little extra push? For new viewers, it's worth noting that R.J. isn't technically part of the Forrester family tree. His last name might match, but his connections are complicated. According to spoilers, word of Electra and Will's breakup is going to spread quickly around the office. That means things are about to get awkward between the exes. I can totally see Electra needing a shoulder to cry on, and R.J. swooping in with that classic line, "You can do way better, like me." Of course, Will Spencer Jr. isn't going to give up Electra without a fight, which means R.J. has his work cut out for him. Bradley Bell has teased a major rivalry between the two young men, most likely centered on Electra. So, I'm curious, are you rooting for Electra to get back with Will, or do you think she and R.J. could actually make a cute couple? I've been following The Bold and the Beautiful for years, and honestly, the rumor mill about John McCook retiring has had fans panicking multiple times. Every time Eric Forrester's health dips, speculation skyrockets. Is the iconic Forrester patriarch finally being written off? I was wondering if this time the whispers might actually be true. Next week, things look intense. Promos show the Forrester family in full panic mode as they call 911 for Eric. There's a dramatic confrontation in the Forrester mansion living room. Bill and Katie Spencer are going toe-to-toe with Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan, while Eric is right in the middle of it all. At one point, Eric starts shouting about his designs and suddenly clutches his chest. I couldn't help but think, is this heart trouble or something even worse? It's not the first time Eric's life has hung by a thread. Remember when Steffi Forrester's husband Finn saved him with that experimental surgery? That was a roller coaster. To me, it feels like we might be heading down a similar path again. Hospital drama, tense family standoffs, and maybe even life or death stakes for the designer. John McCook hasn't said anything about retirement, which leaves fans like me wondering, is Eric about to say goodbye for real this time? And if so, it looks like Katie Spencer might end up with the last design the legendary dressmaker ever created. According to spoilers, those designs are going to spark a major storyline soon, with Ridge Forrester planning to take Katie and Bill to court over ownership rights. So, has John McCook finally decided to step away? Does that mean Eric Forrester will finally pass on? I'm not sure yet, but I do know the drama is far from over, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. I've been thinking about The Bold and the Beautiful, and it seems like Will Spencer might finally be at a breaking point. After his breakup with Electra Forrester, I'm wondering if he's seriously considering quitting Forrester Creations altogether. The whole situation started when Ivy Forrester spied on Will and managed to wedge herself between him and Electra. To me, it looks like Will is starting to question if it's time to switch companies, maybe even follow in his mom's footsteps. Will was furious after Ivy showed up at his home and threatened Dylan, even though he had generously offered her a place to stay. What really gets me is that Ivy didn't even bother to confront them properly. She just told Dylan to pack up and leave. Poor Dylan was so shaken that Will practically had to drag her back to the beach house to get some answers. Naturally, Will reached out to Electra to help him figure out what was happening. I can imagine Electra's shock when she learned that Ivy had basically banned Dylan from seeing either of them. To make matters worse, Dylan was forced to lie, claiming she had a job and needed to leave for work, even though Deke Sharp had caught her scavenging at Il Giardino just to eat. Can you blame Will for demanding answers at that point? By the end of the week, Electra was determined to get to the bottom of the mess between Will and Dylan. That little dance episode, and the near kiss, didn't help, especially with a nosy Ivy witnessing it all without any warning. Electra's reaction? Completely understandable. I have to admit, Will's mixed signals to Dylan aren't making things any easier. Asking her to dance, letting things get awkward. It's no wonder Electra is upset. I mean, Will clearly cares for Electra, but he's definitely not thinking with the clearest head right now. Maybe it's time for him to reconsider his commitment if he can't manage his impulses. All this makes me think Will might conclude that staying at Forrester Creations is no longer viable. He'll probably turn to his parents for advice, and I wouldn't be surprised if they suggest Logan Designs as an alternative. Will has already confided in Deke that he feels his Forrester journey is almost over. It makes sense. Katie Logan is the one who originally brought Will to Forrester Creations, and now that she's launched her own company, it feels natural for her to offer him a spot. I can picture Katie thinking that even though Will enjoyed his time at Forrester, his unhappiness could be the perfect reason to bring him into Logan Designs. So to me, it's shaping up like Will's career, and maybe even his love life, is about to take a major turn. Whether it's Forrester or Logan, one thing's for sure. He's in for some big decisions. Ashley Brewer, best known for her role on The Bold and the Beautiful, is gearing up for what might be her most exciting role yet: motherhood. The actress and her husband, Mark Bauch, are expecting their first child, and she shared the happy news in the sweetest way. Brewer wrapped up 2025 by tying the knot with her longtime boyfriend, and now she's starting 2026 with another major milestone. On Valentine's Day, she posted a series of stunning black and white photos showing off her baby bump, captioning them simply, "We are so excited!" Fellow soap stars quickly flooded her post with congratulations. Former B&B co-star Rena Sofer wrote, "Amazing! Congratulations!" Days of Our Lives actress Lindsay Godfrey chimed in with, "Congratulations, sweet friend!" And Carla Mosley of Beyond the Gates added, "Oh, honey, congratulations." Even B&B co-star Kimberlyn Brown joked, "You need to come to Montana for these photos." Fans had actually been speculating about Brewer's pregnancy for a little while. On screen, Ivy's baggy outfits and waist-up camera angles hinted at something behind the scenes. Now, those suspicions are confirmed. Details about the baby are still under wraps, but it's clearly a joyous time for Brewer and her husband. Of course, this raises the big question for B&B fans. What does this mean for Ivy? From what I can tell, it seems unlikely the show will write the pregnancy into Ivy's storyline. Ivy isn't in a relationship right now. She's far too busy meddling in her niece Electra's personal life to worry about starting a family herself. Speaking of Electra, Ivy has been stirring up drama like only she can. After revealing the secret about Will and Dylan, she's successfully thrown a wrench into their relationship. Will is desperate to win Electra back, but with Ivy in the mix, it's anyone's guess how this will play out. Ivy isn't exactly a villain, but her protective instincts for Elektra have pushed her into some pretty morally gray territory. And now, with Brewer preparing for maternity leave in the coming months, the writers will need a clever way to explain Ivy's absence. Will she be sent on an extended business trip? Maybe back to Australia? Or could her meddling go too far, leading to tragic consequences, especially if Dylan has a darker side? Either way, it's shaping up to be a fascinating few months on and off screen for Ivy. The Bold and the Beautiful's recent whirlwind wedding between Carter and Daphne had the Forrester Creations showroom buzzing with excitement, and honestly, it felt like love was in the air. But as dreamy as it all seemed, I can't help but wonder if the honeymoon phase is about to hit a wall of secrets. Daphne is stepping into marriage for the first time, and yet the shadow of her past in Paris looms, threatening to turn Carter's perfect dream life into something far messier. For 13 years, Carter has been chasing the love of his life. When he first arrived in Los Angeles, reconnecting with family was his goal, but things didn't exactly go as planned. He had to navigate a whole new life on his own, a life where he longed to build a family but always seemed to miss his chance. Until now. Carter finally broke his curse of being the officiant, never the groom, when he married Daphne in a spontaneous, whirlwind showroom wedding. And from his perspective, it's the fairy tale ending he's been waiting for. But here's where it gets complicated. The post-wedding glow might be short-lived. Daphne is clearly smitten, but I get the sense she might be feeling the weight of that sparkling new ring. She's in love, sure, but I can't shake the feeling that part of her heart still carries guilt. Their romance didn't exactly start in the most honest, organic way, and that could linger. Earlier, Daphne confided to Steffi that she might be pregnant within the next 9 months. She hinted that she and Carter were ready to start a family, but the way she phrased it sounded like she might already be pregnant, and she didn't tell Carter until their wedding night. That's when she revealed she wanted to start their family immediately, and naturally, the two shared their first night together as husband and wife. But here's the twist I'm wondering about. What if Daphne's pregnancy plans are covering something bigger? She has a history of dashing off to Paris whenever her love life with Carter hit a bump. Could it be that she's already carrying another man's child? If so, passing it off as Carter's would be the ultimate betrayal. For a man who's dreamed of building a family for so long, discovering that his miracle baby actually belongs to a Parisian fling would be nothing short of devastating. The honeymoon might be over before it really begins, and Forrester Creations could soon be the stage for one of the boldest betrayals yet. The next 3 weeks on The Bold and the Beautiful, from February 16th to March 6th, are shaping up to be absolutely explosive. I mean, we're talking shocking revelations, family showdowns, and some moments that could literally take your breath away, and not just metaphorically. Starting February 16-20, Bill Spencer is going to crank up the pressure like only he can. He wants Eric Forrester to finish the designs for Katie Logan Spencer's first collection faster, and let's just say stress levels are about to spike. Bill will get himself so worked up that he literally struggles to breathe, which sends Donna Logan Forrester into full panic mode. She'll push Eric to get to the ER, but Eric, stubborn as ever, will insist he's got it all under control. Classic Eric, right? Meanwhile, Liam Spencer won't be able to hold back any longer. He's going to tell Hope Logan Spencer the truth. Eric is Katie's lead designer, and naturally, Hope is thrown completely off guard. Then, things get even juicier. Katie and Bill are about to drop some bombshell news on Brooke Logan Forrester and Ridge Forrester. The Forrester duo's reaction? Absolutely priceless chaos. Ridge and Brooke will freak out over Eric's designer status at Logan, which triggers a tense showdown between Ridge and Eric. And yep, once again, Eric's health comes into play. He struggles to breathe and looks like he might keel over. Brooke, Donna, Bill, and Katie will all jump into action, maybe even calling paramedics. Thankfully, Eric stabilizes enough to finally confess to Ridge and Brooke. He gets to explain his motives, why he wanted a shot at designing again. Turns out, being sidelined at Forrester Creations really hurt him, and he just wanted to prove he still has what it takes to shine in the fashion world. Meanwhile, in the Forrester family drama department, Will Spencer is fighting hard for another chance with Elektra Forrester, but she's firm. No chance if he keeps letting Melissa Dillon stick around. During the week of February 23-27, Dylan is likely to get closer to Will, and I wouldn't be surprised if a kiss happens soon. RJ Forrester might also be showing Elektra some tender moments, maybe even gearing up for a smooch of his own. Back with Eric, the big question is whether he can keep up as Katie's lead designer, given his ongoing health concerns. Maybe sharing the workload will help, and it looks like Deke Sharp could finally step in at Logan to assist. Then, the week of March 2nd to 6 brings some more tension, but this time in the personal lives of the characters. Daphne Rose could be feeling frustrated if pregnancy doesn't happen as quickly as she hoped. Carter Walton will try to stay optimistic, arguing they have plenty of time, but Daphne might sense that something's off. Parenthood struggles could hit them hard, and that heartbreak could be intense to watch. And of course, the temptation between Taylor Hayes and Deacon Sharp isn't going anywhere. They might cave in sooner rather than later, and Sheila Sharp could be on the brink of discovering them. That's bound to set off some serious anger and drama. To me, these next few weeks feel like a roller coaster, emotional, chaotic, and full of those classic bold and the beautiful moments that make you gasp and say, "I did not see that coming." I was thinking about Monday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, and it looks like Katie Logan Spencer is going to face a serious design dilemma, and poor Eric Forrester is about to be put in a really tight spot by Bill Spencer. Katie was genuinely excited when Eric came on board as her lead designer, especially after she approved his first sketches for Logan. I get why she's thrilled. Eric brings that signature touch, but he's working on the rest of the collection at his own pace. And well, Bill isn't exactly patient. To me, it seems like he's ready to push Eric hard, even if it risks slowing things down. I imagine Monday's episode will show Bill debating this with Katie. I think she's going to stand her ground, probably arguing that Eric is a perfectionist who deserves the time to do things right. She might even insist that letting him work carefully will be better for Logan in the long run. That makes sense to me. Rushing creativity usually backfires. But Bill will definitely push back, emphasizing that they're on a tight schedule. I was wondering if he'll remind Katie that meeting their launch goals is crucial, and that waiting too long could risk someone else leaking Eric's designs. That tension between speed and quality is classic B&B drama. Katie may also bring up Eric's past health issues, which I think adds another layer to this conflict. It feels like she's worried that too much pressure could be dangerous. And honestly, she might be right. Bill's nudge for Eric to finish the designs quickly could end up stressing him out more than he's willing to admit. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Eric struggling to breathe in the next couple of episodes. He's trying to keep it together, but I think it's clear he's reaching a breaking point. Donna Logan is bound to freak out when Eric's health starts declining, and I get it. He's like family. Meanwhile, Ridge and Brooke Logan Forrester have been insisting for a while that Eric should retire to avoid any more medical scares. Watching him under pressure, I feel like Brooke and Ridge's concerns are going to prove true, at least to some extent. From what I'm seeing, Eric is about to become the center of even more conflict. Between deadlines, health concerns, and Bill's impatience, the next few episodes are shaping up to be tense, dramatic, and honestly, a little heartbreaking. On Tuesday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, things get tense as Eric faces the consequences of overextending himself. After Monday's drama, where Bill pushed Eric to speed up his designs to help get Logan up and running, it's clear that the pressure is starting to take a toll. Katie's new fashion house can't launch without a full collection, and as her lead designer, Eric is being pushed harder than ever. While the press and potential buyers are eager for Katie's debut, the bigger story might be what this workload is doing to Eric's health. Tuesday's episode highlights just that. Eric suffers a frightening breathing episode, raising the question, was Ridge right about encouraging his father to retire? Ridge insisted his intentions were purely about Eric's well-being, and while being pushed out of the company, he found it feels like a personal slight. Maybe Ridge's concerns weren't entirely off base. If the stress of designing full-time triggers a medical scare, Eric might have to finally consider stepping back. Following the episode, Donna steps in, begging Eric to seek medical attention. Even if Eric refuses a hospital visit, he's surrounded by options. Finn has treated him before, Bridget could step in if needed, and even a discreet house call could get him the help he requires. However, Eric's decision to push himself for Katie and to keep it a secret from Brooke and Ridge is a ticking time bomb. The fallout could be explosive. Not only could Eric and Ridge clash, but the tension between the Logan sisters could reach a breaking point. Brooke and Katie's strained relationship has only intensified with every development surrounding Katie's new company, and a medical setback for Eric could make matters dramatically worse. To me, it feels like Eric is walking a dangerous line, caught between loyalty, ambition, and his own health. And the consequences are about to hit hard. I was really struck by the latest spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Wednesday's episode is shaping up to be intense. Katie and Bill finally spill to Ridge and Brooke the identity of Logan's secret designer. I think what's interesting is how everyone's anger naturally lands on Eric. John McCook, who plays him, mentioned they freak out, and you can feel the tension in the air. But what really caught my attention wasn't the shouting match, it was Eric himself. During all the drama, he suddenly struggles to catch his breath. I couldn't help but wonder, like McCook did, how sketching gowns could be physically taxing. Apparently, it's less about the physical effort and more about the emotional weight. The showrunners apparently wanted to show that the pressure of the moment was just too much for Eric to handle. Now, I was curious if this was going to be another round of the so-called soap opera illness that almost wrote him out of the show back in 23. McCook reassured fans that this isn't revisiting that old storyline. The respiratory distress is really just a device to hint that something deeper is happening with Eric, without pulling the same card from a few years ago. What I really loved, though, was how Eric reacted to being sidelined by his son. I didn't see him as pitiful at all. He was angry, sharp, and active in his response. He wasn't just sitting there moaning about being forced into retirement. He was fully engaged, and I think that made the storyline much more compelling. To me, that's what makes his character so fascinating. He still has fight in him, even when the odds are stacked.